You're on.
Hey guys, welcome to another question and answer. So we've got a few things going on, not in the YouTube comments or the Facebook, but other things that we're working on that I hope to get the YouTube channel back on track. I think we've lost a little bit of our step because filming became a little bit of a problem. The way we were doing it, we had to get too many people, 3 or 4 people together, and when Jimmy was doing it. And sometimes that was hard. So what we're going to do is we had a trial run of the GoPro the other day, Saturday, and that went very well. So
yeah, it looks really good.
So
the only issue I saw was an audio issue of the kind of GoPro up against your shirt.
How do you prevent that, Patrick?
Get an external mic, like Malcolm was saying.
So we need to do that.
Yeah.
But meanwhile,
other than that, it's kind of annoying. Other than that, it went really good.
But I really want to start acting. What that means is I'm going to start up in my game. You know, the YouTube channel's presented for beginners and I would say maybe intermediate, but not journeyman or professional. I think what I'm going to do is up my game. I'm going to show myself doing work. So what I learned Saturday with the GoPro, we have a shoulder. What was that? A body harness? Huh? Chest harness. Yeah. That really worked out good, and I was getting better. Did you see some of the angles that I got? I was actually flipping the camera up a little bit, Patrick, to get better angles.
Oh, maybe that was the noise.
Could have been.
You doing that, yeah, because moving it doesn't...
But I found that you just can't simply keep it in place. You have to do some movement of it to show people what you're doing.
And there you go.
And I know that it's a wide lens, right? Maybe I'm not getting an idea.
Everything was captured, which is good.
You need to tell me how wide. I don't know how wide of a lens it is. You know.
Yeah. There was a blooper there in the beginning that was funny. The thing fell.
Oh yeah. When are you going to post that? I want to get people's reaction for that.
After this. Someone did it.
Really? Right after this? So you guys stay tuned, especially Malcolm and people who know about videography and sound.
But if anyone wasn't here last week, it was pretty much a free YouTube class that we're doing. So that's the
with Jimmy, but Jimmy may not, and such is the case, and I often apologize for this. I wanted Jimmy to finish that chair, but that might not be able to happen because the customer needs the chair.
Oh, so there's only going to be one?
Well, Jimmy was in the beginning helping me. He cut the fabric. He stripped the chair, and we were working together. So it might not.
Are you going to be able to finish it, though? Right?
I'm going to finish it. Okay. I'm going to finish it, probably without Jimmy. But I want to show more of the work that I do during the day, and to give people a little bit more. I have tips on how to speed up that I don't really present in the other classes, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Really getting this station back. I really think that we've slipped down in the ratings on these YouTube channels because I notice more people are doing this, Patrick. Right? So we need to get moving.
Posting, but it's not. We can get back on track now.
I want to get back on track. So before I get to, I want to do a little segment about. We have gotten a little busy at the shop, and I want to go over a couple of the orders and what it means to work with clients and decorators and what the difference is. You guys might be interested in this, but I'll get into that in a minute. I do want to there's 2 YouTube comments. One is from Matt, and it's about how to tie a slip knot. He says, I don't know squat about fixing furniture, but you are such a clown. Oh, no. I don't know squat about fixing furniture, and I'm a total clown. He's calling himself a clown, Patrick, when it comes to crafts. Thanks for the video. I used a German needle, some twine, and clasps to fix a button that I had no idea how to fix since I cannot access the back of the sofa. Great job. Yeah, that's great. Those type of repairs can save you some money, the homeowner some money. But he must have had a German needle. I don't know where you got that, Patrick. No. Most people don't have a German needle. We show 2 ways of doing that. One with equipment that you have at home, and one is with the German needle, which is a professional tool, and the clasps. Sheila says, the Upholstery Show Live. Do you have a video to reupholster a hickory chair bottom part? Webbing, foam, and fabric. I think the closest to that might be the padding, Patrick. The padding, how to pad a chair. That might be the closest video we have to that. So thank you for those comments. But there was only 2, though. We used to get dozens of those, didn't we, Patrick? Isn't that an indication that you kind of let the ball down a little bit?
Yeah, but summer and all that. There's probably a lot of factors.
So Tracy, I had an interesting post. If you remember from an earlier post she had, wasn't there a storm involved in this?
Yeah, she.
Well, hurricane
The
or
last
something?
picture was that it was just a frame, wasn't it, or something like that?
There was some storm. It came in, and I think it flooded or did something. And she's got this. Well, let me show people. She has the before and after. And this was. Let me read it. Okay, from this to that. If you recall, I had snafus with the storm. I had to regroup and decided to use white quilts, but she was beautiful for my daughter's. But she's calling the settee she, and you'll see why in a minute. It was beautiful for my daughter's wedding, although not as beautiful as my daughter. So there's the big one is the before, and then the white it below is the after. And I think she did a great job. You know, I like the trim she used. I usually don't like that big contrasting trim, but I like it. And I think that she was very brave to change out the style to more of a modern look. I think that's okay. It's her settee. She can do anything she wants with it. Somebody did comment, though, Patrick, that they like the buttons and the channels. That only would have been about 5 times the amount of work. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the interesting things that happened. Today, we had a couple of things. Michaela was in the shop today, and we had a customer come in. She had sometimes a small job can be as interesting as anything else, I suppose. But she came in she sent a picture of I recognize as a Stickley chair with 2 cushions. She just wanted the 2 cushions. It didn't seem like a huge job, but then she came in and she had a young lady, her niece, with her, and she was telling me that it was her grandfather's chair. So the little girl, who was about 8, represented 5 generations associated with this chair, and I thought that was really interesting. Oftentimes, our work here as upholsterers, we get to meet people in places and go to clients' houses and get to know your client. I think it's important to get to know your client just a little bit, even on the even in a small way. But she had these spring units. They were the original spring units to the chair, and we don't often see that. And I sensed there was a budget. So I said, well, let's try to save these cushions. The back cushion was better than the seat cushion, which is usually the case. But these had springs and layers of cotton in it. So I'm going to try to restore them rather than replace them with foam. I think that it's better to try to keep as much of the original. If you see my videos, you know that I like to keep as much of the original. Sometimes, people don't realize it's harder to do that than it is just to strip it and change it out, go all new foam. So that was interesting. And another interesting. So I have other interests in history. I like Native American history, American history. I mean, if you're going to be doing furniture, certainly American history helps you with pieces. It actually helps you to upholster if you know a little bit about the history of a piece. But anyhow, I got a call today from a local person in Arlington, and she lives up on a hill that overlooks a pond. And I happen to know this area was heavily used by the Massachusetts Indian. Massachusetts was the name of an Indian tribe, for all you who may not know that. But there's a myth associated with just this particular area with Native American mythology, and that is that a huge, Native Americans believe in giants, and who am I to say that there weren't giants, but this was a giant maiden who came from the west, and she had in her apron, she had all these rocks, which would be boulders to us, and she stood at the top of this hill, and she let the apron go, and all of the stones fell out, and they formed a necklace along this hill. And so I had heard that myth, but then it was almost validated when I heard a geologist talk about the strange assortment of not really making a connection. This in history, this would be like in the 1920s. This old geologist was on YouTube talking about this area and what he had discovered before they made a park out of it. And he was talking about the strange arrangements of stones, which he described as pretty much a necklace. So a lot of these myths are true to the areas, and they're specific to certain areas. So this client has getting back to upholstery, she has a beautiful swing settee. They're beautifully manufactured settees. I would say, what would you say the date is on that, Mikhail? About 1940, 1950 maybe? it's a beautiful metal with the spring system that's really really good, and she wants all new cushioning. But I guess the reason I bring this up, I bring the story up, is that you're not just, you have to make these connections, I feel, with customers, and talking, and keep it light, nothing serious for sure, Patrick, but just trying to make these connections. It's actually not I don't do it intentionally to make a sale, but I sometimes 50% of the times it doesn't result in a sale anyhow. It's just these type of community connections. Sometimes you just can't. They're very valuable, and you just can't put a price on them. Certainly. Then I had another woman who came in. She had done it was a small job, and she had these 2 Italian cushioned sofas with these buttons that were coming out. It took me 5 minutes to do, but the skill is that slip knot in the button repair, and something like that I don't charge, but I do ask people, if you're happy with me, put a good review up there. That it doesn't hurt, right, Pat?
No.
I'm not shy about that. So I just wanted to talk about today. That was what happened today, and I also want to talk a little bit about, how long do you work with clients? We did something very special today. We went out, Michaela and I went out and in-house together. I don't think we've ever done that, right? The customer requested both of us to come out to the house. Thank God it was right around the corner. We both went out, and of course, as soon as we get to the house, 2 people are at the shop, the front door, Patrick.
Really?
So, we were gone for a total of about a half hour. We did leave a note on the door, but, this is a very unusual thing. Now, years ago, we used to go out all the time. Not Michaela, but when I was in the business years ago, we didn't have the social media, the texting and all that. It was usually a phone call. Can you come out? Okay, I'll come out. And oftentimes, like today, you don't get all of these jobs that you go out to. So, but who is an easy customer? Let's talk about that. Any questions or comments, Patrick, about what I've talked about so far, or last week? So, who are your good customers? I think your good customers, the customers that make fast decisions. First of all, that they're people who are motivated to get something done, and they're not just. A lot of what I get are inquiries. And sometimes people actually come in, and that I don't want to say they waste your time, but I can tell really if I try to be as courteous as possible, but you don't get every job, and you spend some time. And so what you want to try to do is get good at talking to people on the phone first, weeding it out. Maybe having them text you before they come in. People want to come in all the time with their furniture. And that's kind of that's not in step with how we do things. I mean, if everybody did that, and people work like this. I know upholsterers and refinishers, wood people, or shop owners, whatever they're doing, they feel as though it's an old model. Get it in here. You don't have the job unless it's in here. It crosses the threshold. But by the time, if I did that, Patrick, you realize how messy that place would be? So, you have to really pace yourself. We've done videos about this, right, Patrick? If you review some of the videos, how to run an upholstery shop, I think is one of them.
Yeah, we should update that, because I'm sure or the pricing one definitely has to be. We should do an update.
Yeah, but even with me, I mean, as good as I think I am, I can get bogged down. We had somebody come in, and it looked good. First, there was a phone call, then there was a text, then there was an estimate with the text, very clear how much it was, how many yards of fabric you need. Then she came in and spent a half of an hour before she realized that it was too expensive and way out of her budget, and she said she was actually embarrassed that she had come in. I said, oh no, don't worry, you try to be courteous, but that's a half hour we'll never get back. I mean, we bill out at $80 an hour, and it was Michaela and I working with her, so you never get that back. And if you add that up by the end of the week, we're not plumbers. We don't bill out by the minute, right, Pat? We couldn't do that anyhow. It's not that type of business. But anyhow, so one of the jobs I had was, so this is an interesting one. So most of my customers, I don't work with designers mostly. We get a few designers. So oftentimes I find myself doing the work of a designer with a client. In this case, this woman had some wicker cushions, and it's a total of, let's say, 3 seat. Let's say it's a sofa, a sofa and a chair, a couple of chairs, and they're smaller cushions. And she said she really wanted a big floral, or she was thinking about, just think big floral, colorful floral. And I'm getting into that. I'm thinking to myself, I don't know about that. I didn't offer my opinion about it, which I should have in the beginning. And my thought was that on a small cushion, a big pattern like this isn't going to work. I've seen it, where you try to center, let's say a sunflower that's 36-inch repeat, and then you try to make sense of it. Sometimes the only thing you can do is center the sunflower on each cushion. And it looks dumb because the fabric's meant to flow. It's actually most of your pattern fabrics like that, which we have a few, are meant for windows. They're meant to hang down from, up above and down this way. If you have a 36-inch repeat, what are you going to have? Two, maybe 2.5 repeats up. So your job as an upholsterer is to try to make that work. Now, in the 90s, when I was only working with designers, I didn't have any input at all. They could come with a 100-inch fabric and say, here, make it work. And I heard that a lot with designers. Make it work. Okay. But so the customer realized herself that this wasn't going to work after she got a couple of samples. She bought some one-yard samples, brought them in. So there's a lot of time going by here, guys. The clock is ticking. And it's not what I would call a huge job either. And so then she reshifted the whole thing. She was going for a smaller pattern or even a plain fabric. And she finally picked, Michaela, an overall pattern, which Michaela was the rescuer of this job, because she convinced the client that if you like color, you have small cushions, maybe the way to go is an overall pattern so you don't have to match it. Right, Patrick? Do you follow this? This is really smart of her. So I'm very proud of Michaela on how fast she's learned this. I mean, she is an art student, but she's learned this pretty well. And Jimmy, in Saturday's class, he came up with something that I was proud of him too. He came up with something that was very advanced on cutting fabric, that I was very happy that he did. He did it on his own, which was good. He didn't need me. But getting back to this client, I'm talking about the jobs that we have, not the clients. But that was one. So I guess what I'm trying to do is time. You have to control your time. You have to watch your time. I don't know about you guys, but I find that I have less bench time now than I've ever had with some of the other things we're doing. I mean, we have a custom upholstery shop. We have the YouTube videos. We have the online classes. We have a store. Patrick's busy with the editing. Michaela's busy with fabrics and editing. But there's a lot going on. Plus, I have, being in a mixed commercial residential neighborhood, I have, as a business owner in this, I have certain responsibilities to be cordial to my neighbors. So that takes some time. Somebody might come in to say hello, and the next minute, half hour goes by, right, Pat? So you have to be, time management, right? So that's why my hours are 11 to 3, just to let you guys know, Tuesday through Friday. Saturday it's 9 to 2, but it's 11 to 3 so that I get up. This morning I got up at 5, and I was in the shop working it by 6, and just to try to get some work done before the shop opens at 11. Michaela came down because we had 3 estimates to do today, and that worked out well, and here we are now. I mean, we're about that shop. We're in Maine now, but that shop's about on today it was 45 minutes away with the traffic. So, and here it is, the end of the day, really. So that's one job. Got another job. Michaela's kind of surprised lately. I've been taking some leather jobs. I got some leather samples from my supplier, and I checked them out, and I liked what I saw, both in the dye process and both in the thicknesses and the feel of the leathers. So I got a call from a customer who has a Chesterfield sofa bed. Have you guys ever heard of that? That's Chesterfields usually are the ones that are leather with the tufting all over, including the seat. This one had a cushion that was tufted. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing the cushion. Usually I don't do repairs, but it was a hide of leather. They don't sell it any less than that. So it was a decent job, and we'll give it a shot. He doesn't want the buttons put back in it, but he needs new foam. So that was an interesting job. So We'll see how that goes. That's gonna depending on how this job goes. It's gonna be dependent if I'm gonna be doing more leather work. I guess forget about it. I won't do full leather work. If you want leather, get real leather. That's what I say. I had another job. I've been taking COMs too. Sometimes, you just, with old customers or with people who are willing to pay a little bit more on the labor end of things, you can't, we make these policies and I kind of backpedal sometimes. I mean, in the end, you still need work. And I got this job. This is through a designer. It's 2 cushions. There's no piping, and I took the job because it wasn't bad pay on it. So some designers I do work for. Got another cushion job here. We got a slip seat job. I like slip seats. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to do the quickest slip seat in the West. Is one of our videos coming up. Will you remind me about that, Patrick?
Yeah.
Quickest slip seat in the West. You're going to see me do this slip seat, and you might be surprised how quick I can be at this age. But this morning, you should have seen me go. I have to be in the right frame of mind and frame mood and physically able. But this was 6 slip seats, and there was supposed to be a sofa with this, but the sofa ended up being too much. So sometimes we get partial jobs, which is better than no job. That's also somebody local. Another cushion job here. Another dining room chair. There was one in here. Oh, this one. So I have a job. It's a bigger job. Logistically, it's a little harder for me because it's a sectional sofa and 2 swivel chairs and a bench, and it's in an area where I don't like to go. So I've put this customer in touch with the mover, and I've actually, I don't know if you guys who are in the upholstery business out there, if Randy's watching or Malcolm or somebody else, if you have a relationship with the mover, but I just started forming a relationship with this mover, this local guy who I like. He's got these electric trucks, if you can believe it, and I like how he does business, and he's going to be helping me with this job. I don't think the customer's going to mind that little extra charge because I couldn't do this all, even if I wanted to. I couldn't do this all in one pickup. This would probably be three pickups on this one because I don't have a big van. So another business problem. I was glad that the customer was going to pay for the extra moving charge, which it wasn't a problem. So I'm happy that I'm not picking up or delivering that one. Any questions or comments, Patrick?
Nope, slow today. I think the usual crowd is busy. Maybe they're getting a head start on Memorial Day.
That's fine.
Nico's here, though.
Hi, Nico. Self-piping. Let's see. I got this.
We can actually just, let me, she just posted this one. Okay, I know this is hard to answer without pics, but I just got asked to reupholster what looks like 10 dining chairs with upholstered bags. Client is supplying the fabric. I'm thinking $125 per chair. Any thoughts on that?
Upholstered backs and seats? That's a very good price.
Yeah, she says upholstered back, so I assume.
So if
I assume the seat's upholstered.
If it's an upholstered back, it probably has an upholstered inside back and an upholstered outside back, and either a slip seat or an upholstered seat. She actually can, Nico, if you can tell me, is it an upholstered seat, a slip seat? Does it have double piping? Does it have French nails? Things like that. But I think even if it's a slip seat with an upholstered back, which would be the lesser estimate for me, $125 is a really good bargain. I mean, I would be more at $175 for the basic slip seat and the upholstered back.
She said yeah, so...
What? That it's a slip seat and an upholstered back?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I think she means yes on that. I depending on where you are, of course, we've talked about demographics and what the market will bear. She's also buying her own fabric, so you're not going to be making any money on the fabric. And you obviously didn't upcharge this. It doesn't sound like that. But I had somebody come in. You won't believe this. I mean, we got to make somebody's money somewhere.
Said yes to piping, but she hasn't seen them yet.
Yeah, $125 is a really decent price, but I would be more than that. At least $50 a chair more. And then if she was bringing her fabric, maybe an upcharge in addition to that. But I had a customer, he was actually a good guy. He's one of these delivery guys that I know. And he came in one day and said, he's got these cushions and he wanted me to do them. I said, oh yeah, bring in the measurements and I'll give you an estimate. And he said, he has his own foam. And what else did he have? Oh, so he came in, he's got his own foam. Usually I don't do that, you know. You can make money on your foam, you can make money on your fabric. You don't make as much money on the labor as you think you are for the reasons that I was just talking about with the time management problems that we have. And we're not plumbers. We don't keep track of every minute. So I'm trying to help the guy, you know. So he comes in and I'm giving him the labor price, and he stopped right there at the labor price was like $200 more than what he wanted to pay for the entire job, including the fabric. So I said, well, I'm going to try. You know, our fabric's way out of the ballpark for him. So I said, well, I'm still trying to help him. And then he says he has his own foam. And then I said, well, you can get your own fabric, I suppose. You know, I was about $200 off. He only had $200 in his budget left, put it that way, for, 20 yards of fabric. So he's going to have to find fabric for, $10, $20 a yard, which isn't impossible. But, I'm trying to help him. But normally, for a job like that, it would be, let's say it was $1,500 labor. And then for 20 yards of fabric, we might make another $500. And then for foam, we might make another $200. So there's $700 or $800 that we're not going to make in profit from trying to help the guy. But if you do that too many times, where are you going to be? People catch on quick if somebody's just not selling their own fabric or cushions, and they really catch on quick, and they start bringing their own fabric in droves, and then you're left, wondering what happened to your business. You need other flow in your business, not just the labor. That's what I found. And then these 8 slip seats that I did this morning, I almost finished them. 8 slip seats. They needed to be They needed to be stripped down to the frame, rewebbed, repadded, reupholstered, and boy, I almost got them done this morning, if you can believe it. So I was moving. I was in prime time this morning. I haven't been like that in a while. Sometimes I just crank. Patrick doesn't know this about me. I'll crank the music up. I listened to the Highwaymen, Patrick, this morning to get the blood boiling,
Good.
and I needed to get going, Sometimes.
Well, speaking of that, you're talking about just getting stuff done and getting into the rhythm.
Yeah.
I think now that you know how to do this GoPro, we were talking, you're just going to film everything. Almost everything, not everything.
Yeah, it'll be up to you to get those posted.
Yeah, he's just going to put this thing on and show you guys what the everyday...
I'll be talking because I want some entertainment value to it, too.
It's too bad, you can't get the customer interactions.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Most people don't want to be on film,
yeah, but
unfortunately.
Still, you can see what goes on in the shop and what work you do.
Well, what people are going to see, too, is how to up their game to get faster. I have ways of speeding up.
I think this solves... We have trouble getting here and designating a day to filming videos because it's at a different location. That's our issue. So
that's what I was saying,
This solves, a lot of stuff.
I think I surprised you. I think you were surprised by the quality of that, Patrick.
Yeah, it was really cool.
But we'll let our YouTube
and
people...
I think it was funny. You went into it thinking, we're going to be crazy and
no,
we're going to tell jokes. And you guys got so into it that there was nothing really like that. Not to say that's not going to happen.
That's right. We were talking last week about how I had a hidden agenda with this class with Jimmy about... Because I was thinking about some of the times we had our question and answer and little anecdotal stuff, like his one fan was the dog, remember? Waving.
I think you just got so into it. That's what happens with Jimmy.
We were getting silly, but that's a whole different format. We're both sitting here, and he's over there with his face, and I'm just bringing this stuff up, and most of the time he's in shock at what I'm saying.
Jimmy's funny, but I noticed once he gets working, he doesn't really tell many jokes.
No, he got real serious with us, which was fine. So... But I figured, I know that we've had people comment in the past about if he just kept his mouth shut, why doesn't he just show the work and keep his mouth shut? But most people like me talking, so I'm going to talk.
Right.
But I'm trying to capture something that I'm not trying to copy somebody completely. There's a couple of shows that I liked. One of them was that painter on PBS. Did you ever see him, Patrick? I think there were watercolors that he did, but he had a really soothing voice.
So many of those.
But he was really good at. He used to talk while he was doing and be very enthusiastic.
Bob Ross.
That's who it is. Yeah, of course. You know who that is.
Yeah, passed away a long time ago. Though.
But I'm trying to capture that in other things.
Do they still play those?
I don't know.
Do they still have the?
I don't know, but I don't think so. We told people who did have a problem with me talking, just put the mute. That's what they make a mute button for. All right.
Yeah, you mute him too. You don't like Bob Ross.
You could. I bet people put the volume down on him too. I'm sure you're not gonna. You're not gonna. No, everybody's not gonna love you, Patrick. You know that, right? No. So we got another sofa that came down from another state that the customer brought. And he had a pickup truck, and he had the sofa, weighed a ton. This was like a 300-pound sofa. It was a very heavy sofa. And he had it upside down to be upholstered. And I'm doing this beautiful blue velvet, and it is just coming out gorgeous. And I don't want him to pick it up like that again. I don't think he can do that. So I'm going to offer to him in a case like this. I might offer to drive it up there, Patrick.
Where is this again?
Up north.
How far?
New Hampshire. It's probably about.
Oh, there's a video.
60 miles.
Well, don't record it the whole time, but
right.
You can use your truck.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot easier.
Hey, if we're going up there, we're gonna go check out some of the RVs.
Well, we'll see. Yeah.
Do that at the same time. It's perfect.
I think I went.
Talk about that. This is good for anybody who has a pickup truck. You said you don't recommend transporting in a pickup truck. What?
An open pickup truck.
We got a new truck.
Not a good idea.
And what is it about? I don't know if anyone out here has one, but you say you don't like.
I think the main reason is it looks unprofessional. Number one.
What if you wrap it up in a tarp and
yeah.
all the nice?
Would you rather drive it all the way up there with half of it hanging out the back of your van?
No. But I'm offering. Remember,
so in other words, I'm just bringing that up because if you have a business. Get it if you have a choice between a pickup and an enclosed van, get the enclosed van.
Oh yeah, and get at least 100-inch bed.
Now we got a new pickup truck, an F-250. My solution was to get one of those caps. That could work, but I think the height of the tailgate for somebody who's, I don't know, someone who's smaller, maybe has trouble lifting, could be difficult.
Right.
No, it's not I want to bring this up because it's an important. If somebody has a business.
Well, that truck we did get a truck, kind of a stretch too, but that is in the wings waiting when our truck, which is 170,000, the Transit that we have, which was never, when I bought the Transit used, it was with the understanding that I wasn't going to be doing sofas at some point, but that never happened, and sometimes a 90-inch sofa will not go in this all the way.
I think the best thing is one of those, like the American Pickers have that big van.
Oh yeah, do you know how expensive? Those are very expensive.
Yeah.
Those are expensive. But those are nice, and they're very hard to get,
But I think, that Transit, talk about that in the city. I mean, that's perfect for the city. That's
true.
Like, parking that and...
I could get that Transit in better than I can most automobiles into spaces.
So you recommend if someone's starting a business to get a big van if they can afford it. Second would be a Transit, right?
Yeah, I think if they're just starting out, especially if they're just doing repair work and...
A little smaller
things
van.
like that. A Transit's perfect. One of those Transits.
But
perfect.
if they already have a pickup truck, it works. You just got.
It does. I just I remember the story I heard. One of my customers complaining, an upholsterer showed up at his house, picking up this beautiful family antique sofa. He pulled up in a pickup truck with two of his German Shepherds in the back, and he put the sofa in with the German Shepherds in the back of the pickup truck. That didn't go over too good with the client. I mean, that's not an everlasting image that you.
I'm pretty sure that's illegal too. You can't drive around with dogs in the back.
I think at that time, it was years ago, but I always remembered that. With presentation, it goes back to presentation, and I knew some of the best upholsterers I've known weren't good with presentation. They weren't good at cleaning the furniture off, or you forget about putting a plastic bag on it. But what I do is I make sure that I go over the furniture at least 3 or 4 times, make sure every thread is off, every piece of dust is off, and then I wrap the cushions separately with plastic. I always have this roll of plastic available, and I'll wrap the body, and I'll tape it down. I don't trust that even a tile tape it down because I don't want the wind. I've had that happen in the rainy day. You don't tape something down, you tie it down, it breaks, and you got you know.
That's the biggest issue. If you have a pickup truck, you got to plan what you're planning.
Well, if you have a pickup truck and you don't have it covered, and you're going down the road, it can grease.
Now, who knows what can hit? Yeah.
Birds,
lumber falling off.
anything. I mean, and even you're not even safe. I remember this old box truck we had, which had one of those roll-up back doors, Patrick.
Yeah.
And those doors get greased. And this door had not been greased since we got the van. It was like years and years and years old. Did this white sofa. Wouldn't you know, that day, one of the piece of grease decides to fall off one of the big springs onto the white sofa that wasn't covered. Wasn't me. If it was me, I would have had it covered.
That sounds too perfect.
It was unbelievable. See, some of the things that have happened, unbelievable. Anyhow.
Well, let's talk about reasoning for getting what we got. Is we got it for other reasons. We have other things in mind, not just for the business.
Right.
I'm sure we would have. If it was just solely for the business, we definitely would have got one of those big vans. I thought that was an interesting topic to bring up. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. What type of truck to get? You know what did me well for many? That stowaway Chrysler, Patrick.
Right, it was a minivan. It's a regular minivan.
Minivan. That stowaway, that fit a longer sofa than this Transit fits in. I have a Transit XL.
That reminds me, we should do a video on what vehicle's good for your upholstery business.
Yeah, we should.
We have two now. We got the truck and we got the van. Well, we have both.
I missed that. I missed that minivan, Patrick, because I could get almost any sofa length in that thing.
Let's do a video on that. That'd be cool.
I gave that idea to another upholsterer. You know, what we did was we put the seats down and we put a piece of 4x8 in there.
Yeah.
And Dom does that. That's what he does.
Yeah, he had a bigger van for a while there, but
he didn't need it.
No.
He does everything he needs, and he rides in comfort too, which is another thing.
Yeah.
You ride in comfort.
As long as you don't need the back seats, you don't have kids or anything like that.
And the other thing about a minivan is that it's you don't have to worry about bridge restrictions like around our area in Boston. We have we have the river roads that.
Well, for a box truck, yeah. I mean,
box trucks get stuck underneath those all the time because they're not thinking about it. They're not exactly professional truck drivers. But anyhow,
I just want to say, Julie says pricing is blowing my mind. I am way too cheap. I'm not sure where she's located, but yeah, we got to do an updated video for people.
Part of it, Julie, is I've mentioned this before. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there as an expert. That I would say this is true with any business. So I hear more than occasionally, I read that you teach. That's why I'm here. You must be good if you teach your trade. Well, I would say that don't be afraid to teach. I push people. I've been pushing certain people into this, trying to push them into this. If you want to up your pricing, I can guarantee you if you teach and you tell people you teach and not shy about it, you can up your price 20%, even in one adult ed class. I don't care. Just it puts your name in one of those beautiful, around this part of the country, they have beautiful catalogs. They still have them. They still have those glossy catalogs. And not everything's done online, and you get your name in lights pretty much, and it does put more value on you, and the whole thing about presentation, also does that. And I think location does have some factors, certainly.
I was going to say, it also depends on where she is.
It does. It does.
She's saying she's too... If she knows better than the UK, she just said.
Oh, she's in the UK. Well, I think that I would be trying very hard to get people together into your shop, even if it's just one or two people that you're training on really small stuff. Even if you wanted to do a small sewing class in your shop. And you throw that up there as one of the a feather in your cap. Believe me, you would be the only upholsterer in your town that teaches. That makes a difference. Or other things that you can be known for. It would be great if you're in England, if you can somehow snag one of the palaces, Buckingham Palace. I know they have their own upholsterers because Randy sent. Was it Randy that sent that link with the upholsterer who was working on the King Charles throne?
I think it's either Malcolm or Randy.
But I guess the idea is I would be trying everything to get noticed. All right? I mean,
start a YouTube channel.
I tell you, I encourage people to do that. And actually, you being in the UK automatically, as far as a YouTube standard,
Man, I got
YouTube,
the accent. People
you got you people. We know that England has a long history
What's
of
better
upholstery.
than a car?
Yeah. So, Julie, there are ways of upping your game there for sure. But I do know a little bit about pricing. My sister-in-law did some work over there. She lives there in England, northern England, and she was telling me some of the prices that she was quoted, which
High,
were,
right?
huh?
It's very high. Isn't
No,
it?
it was
Oh, wow.
surprisingly average pricing. Of course, it depends on the economy. It depends on what people are willing to pay. I mean, really. I mean, what's affected all upholsterers everywhere is the market, the world market, and the cheap furniture, and that people have. This is what you're fighting against, Julie. Right? I've talked about this before. You're fighting against extremely good marketing by these new furniture stores who are able to buy furniture really cheap because of the cheap labor. Where it's being. This is your contender. I mean, if you look at an antique furniture and something that's store bought, there's vast differences there. But the other thing that you're fighting, even if somebody has a good piece of furniture, price points. They've been hammered. I can speak about it here. They get hammered with advertisement, and the way they do it is just hook you in, and they advertise one sofa $999, $999. You hear that enough, and then you hear a guy like me say it's really $2,900 labor for this antique sofa, and their jaw drops because they've been hearing. So this is a big problem. So you've got to. How do you combat that? I mean, we've had I'm going to bring it up, Patrick. I won't mention the name. We've had a new furniture store. They've got more than just one, just in the New England area, who have been around a long time and recognized right from the very beginning that they were going to do advertising everywhere. They pay a fortune to advertise. And you hear their name and the prices, over and over and over again. And just to give you an idea just how devastating this can be, in the community where they opened up their first store, there were a dozen upholsterers. Now I think there's only one. So it really has affected the reupholstery industry, which, by the way, the new furniture stores were the rarity. I mean, it was very unusual to have a new upholstered furniture store anywhere. People would keep their furniture and keep reupholstering it 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and it would be passed down. The furniture would be passed down.
Yeah, Julie says, yes, people often say I can have something new cheaper than having something recovered.
And then you're into an education, you try to educate them.
I say, go ahead and get that new one, see how long that lasts you, right?
Well, then I try to get people involved in the process. That's why we do the classes. And, sometimes the students make the best customers, Julie, by the way. But sometimes we tried once, it didn't really work out well. We're trying what we call sweat equity. Do you remember that, Patrick? You don't remember that, do you?
No, I don't.
Maybe it was me working on my own doing it. It was like I thought, what a way to get people to understand the labor and to understand what they're paying for is maybe to get them involved in what we call sweat equity, meaning get them in the shop and let them do a couple of the procedures, mainly just strip the furniture down. That didn't work out too well. That did not work out too well at all. Not many people are willing to do the work. That's why. But I can only tell you that in my past, Julie, I've gotten a lot of different cheap marketing ideas. One of them is YouTube for sure, right, Patrick? Social media, the free stuff. Advertising is expensive. Julie, I think at some point do need to advertise and pay for it, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
At a certain point in your business, really you need to do that, in my opinion, to capture more. First of all, keep your old customers by being good at customer service and communication and catching mistakes, or if there is a mistake, fixing those fast customer service, right? But every business is searching for new customers all the time. That's where advertising comes in, right, Pat? Advertising is all about capturing new customers. It's not about keeping your old customers. Your old customers are going to come back if you treated them well. But you can't sustain a business just on old customers, at least this type of a business. So I guess why I'm saying that to Julie is if she can up her volume of people that are coming through the door, she won't mind if she goes up in her prices. If she has more of a volume of people, she won't mind losing 50% of those clients. I think sometimes we as small business people hate to see somebody walk out the door. I had somebody walk out the door today, that woman I was telling you about. Well, I wasn't going to beg her to come back and offer her 50% off on the job. I'm not saying Julie's going to do that. However, if she got more of a volume going, she wouldn't mind those people who walk away, and then she could capture her price. I think if she's offering a price point, she needs to find out a way. And it is a competitive world. We're in competition with other upholsterers, and who a lot of people are getting smarter every day, Patrick.
No.
They're getting smarter. Our competition is tough, but that's okay. That's what makes you better, I think. So, are there any more questions or comments, Patrick, before Michaela comes on and starts reading some of these estimates?
You already...
I haven't heard from Janine. We haven't heard from Janine in a while.
No.
Maybe she's on vacation.
Isn't it like the holidays over there or something?
Maybe. I mean, Janine is over in Australia.
Holidays are the same everywhere, but the seasons are different.
Yeah. So, Michaela, do we have a couple of estimates?
A couple.
Okay. We just got one in. You want to read that one? I'll hold that up. The dining room chair one?
Yeah. Reupholster 2 dining room chairs.
Those are a little tricky. There's some detail in these chairs. I mean, they have a border going up the back. They have a border around the base. They look like they're in good shape, and they're not passing. So that's what they got going for you. But Julie, a chair like that, I would get $325 each plus 3 yards of fabric each. So Janine's been taking these. She's been snapshotting these that I hold up, and then putting my pricing to Julie to let you know. You can look at past question and answer if you've got some time, and look at some of the pricing that we've done. And these are pricing for the greater Boston area. And when we won Best of Boston in 2018, around here, that's a big deal, you guys. I didn't realize it at the time, but remember in the restaurant, that waiter, Patrick? Remember we told him after we went to the ceremony? Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
We said we won Best of Boston. He said, that is a big deal, remember?
Oh, right, yeah.
The reason I mention that is this is the greater Boston area. People would say, well, how many upholsterers could there be in the greater Boston area? 222, because I looked. And so we're competing with that. There's not just one or two upholsterers. So the pricing is based on greater Boston, not Boston proper. Boston proper, you would get a little bit more. Greater Boston, and we're probably medium high. And I think the quality is great. So, I mean, you've got all different directions you can go with that one. You can go to the lowest price and get bad service and the like, and bad quality. You can go to the highest price and get, I think we're in a good position where we are. What's the next one, Michaela?
Well, there's no other new ones.
What's that one? That one with the leather?
Yeah.
So sometimes I go against. So this is a rocker, right? That they wanted it done in leather. So it's an upholstered piece. It's not anything sewn, and I think the leather will perform well. It is tied springs. You need to tie the springs on that. So I did give them an estimate. They didn't reply though, did they?
Well, you said $425 and 1 yard, and they said, "Okay, I'm in. What's next?" You told them to come in for fabric, and they asked, "Should I bring the chair?" You said we usually like to wait until the fabric is delivered, and then few days, then actually today they responded with, do you do leather upholstery?
Right.
It is just the seat of the rocking chair, which you said we do on something like this, but you need to use our leather.
And they didn't respond to that.
That was this morning, yeah.
They're not going to like the answer, too, if they respond. The next thing they're going to ask, how much is the leather? Well, this most leather companies now, just so you know this, they don't do half hides. They used to do half hides.
They do a whole hide.
They do a whole hide, which is from 48 square feet to 62 square feet. So for that leather chair, she needs to buy a whole hide. She only needs probably at the most a half a hide or less for that chair, or less. And I don't think she's going to do it in leather. And that's why leather's so expensive to do things in leather. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think, Patrick, we filled some time in. I hope I got some good information, but we're hoping that with the added videos, right, we're going to at least get the YouTube comments coming in, flowing in a little bit more readily, right?
Yep.
I have a feeling that other upholstery channels are getting more action than we are because we've dropped the ball a little bit. But we promise we're going to get this thing.
Yeah, I'm going to post it after this, I think, see what people think.
Okay, we'd like your input. Check out the video after this question and answer. But we're glad you came, and thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.